Oh, thanks for finishing up GT testing. Was everybody able to finish?
Yeah, Desiree and Sari were so smart.
Really?
That's why they took so long.
Well,
it kept
good.
going on and on.
I know. Layla thought it was for read plans, and I was like, no, it's for GT testing. She's like, oh, then it's good. Or they were like, it's good then that they're taking so long. So, yeah, our kids, almost all of them, I think, finished in 20 minutes, but that's fine. So, well, I'm excited for our check-in today. I want to start off with a glow and a grow before we dive into some guided reading, which I'm excited to see your video. Thanks for filming for me.
Let me get the...
You want me to share the doc with you?
Yes, please.
Awesome.
I need to start having it open right away.
Yeah, we'll take turns taking notes too, because I'll have you type in your action steps. So start off with glow. You've been really flexible. There's been a lot of last minute sub coverages, not just in our grade level, but in third grade, which I know is a really challenging group of kids. And I'm just super impressed that you can teach them on your own, and it's only November. And I know that it means a lot to those teachers, and it means a lot to me when you can cover too, and everything goes so well. So
thank you.
Covering a ton, being flexible. I know I emailed you I found out about the GT testing last night, and thanks for just making that happen today. I really appreciate it.
I'm really sorry it took so long.
Oh, that's not your fault. I'm glad the kids were doing well. So, and then I also, I noticed that you have been meeting your professionalism goals as well. So that's super exciting. Cool. Do you want to do a glow for me, and then I'll do a grow for you?
Yeah. Glow, you've definitely been giving me a lot more opportunity and space in the classroom, and your coaching around that, I think, has been much more effective than it has. I mean, you've always been a great coach, but these last couple of weeks, especially after my Gateway 2 and knowing what I needed to work on, you've helped me a lot. So, glow in the coaching. And letting me have my own teacher voice, even if it's not exactly what needs to be done.
I think it's great. You bring your own presence, and I think that's really important, and will translate to next year too, and whenever you're subbing. So, I think a grow. Wow, I feel like we haven't gotten to spend very much time together lately.
No, I haven't actually sat down with you it's been a week and a half.
I know. I feel like we've only met during our check-ins lately, because before and after school at conferences has been crazy. I feel like just something, and it's on me as well, just reviewing lesson plans and asking me any questions beforehand, because I own that sometimes the writing plans can be confusing, and knowing where materials are can be confusing, and I want to help you, so I can commit to making sure I get you all the plans by Thursday. And then if you just let me know by Sunday if you have any questions. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I think that there's just some confusion in, usually in the past when you had printed out the lesson plans, it would also come with the books and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was my assumption.
I think we're also just
my fault.
Well, I don't think it's your fault. I think it's with Lindsay having left.
Yeah.
And we said that we'd take on the contents that she was planning, but then math mystery is really hard to prep for the whole grade level. So
yeah, and you've been
so I've been prepping it, but I feel like it might just be better if you prep writing. I'll still write the plans and link everything we need in there, but if you if you print writing, I'll write it, you print it.
Got it.
And then I'll just take math mystery, because I know it's really confusing to figure out where we are in the LTP.
Does that sound good? Problem solving.
Awesome. I'm going to put that down here in our feedback under the goals at the bottom. So, Aya preps writing, Mihaela preps math mystery. I think that'll just be a lot easier for both of us. So, awesome. Did you have a grow for me? Need some yogurt while you tell me.
I don't know. I'm kind of thinking. I feel like I had one and then it slipped my mind.
Do you want to think about it? And if you remember, we can come back to it at the end.
Yeah, let's come back to it so we don't waste time.
You are always welcome to give me my grow, so anytime is good. So last week when we met, we looked at using the data tracker, Daring Guided Reading, to track how kids are doing on their goals. And I just wanted to check in and see how that was going, since
I have that somewhere.
Awesome.
It's kind of been difficult in.
I know. Here, I can hold the phone.
It's kind of been difficult in being able to track all of them at once, and then like I'm having to go back to it after and be like, oh, they did do this or whatever. It's not the most effective method, but that's what I'm doing. Do you want my pen?
Yeah, it's a nice prop, isn't it? There we go.
Alright. This is relay song.
I know you've been between here and Harper's today, so.
Yeah, pretty crazy. I'm trying to get more organized. This is just not working for me.
That looks like guided reading things.
These are the-
There we go.
Some of it, not all of it. So I wasn't doing comp tracking.
Okay.
I didn't get all those students.
But
But
looks
like
like
I
they're
kind of
doing
just
well on the things you're checking.
yeah, I just checked off the things I saw them doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like Miguel and Jocelyn, I didn't get to them, but
Well,
they're
I think with this many kids in a group and only 15-20 minutes to teach the lesson,
Yeah.
it's a good goal to check in with everybody by the end of the week each week. So
Yeah.
on each piece.
on each piece, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I already know where like Jocelyn's at, so I didn't have to really do it during the lesson
Mhm.
because like
Is she using the
I'm-
pattern now?
it's still like hard trying to like drill it into her head
Yeah.
what the pattern is, and I think that a lot of it has to do with like, I mean, when she first came in, you said that she was nonverbal, or someone said she was nonverbal.
Yeah, she didn't speak until she was 4.
So when like I think that she might know what the pattern is, but when you ask her, she's only giving you the last word of the pattern, and then I have to like really like keep drilling her for it.
Okay.
So that's been the hassle. It's not that I don't think that she doesn't know it. I think she's having trouble just telling me a full sentence. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. Is everyone else able to read the
Everyone
pattern?
else knows the pattern.
So that makes me
And-
think that you should check in with Jocelyn first, like send
Yeah.
everybody else to read after you go through the intro, and then read with Jocelyn first every day.
And I have been doing a lot of like, I think you'll see it in the video, like I narrow in a lot on Jocelyn. Because like everyone else I could hear, but I know that Jocelyn like needs the most work right now. So my attention is really focused on her and Miguel.
Awesome. It looks like everybody else is,
Everyone else is doing
like a
fine.
lot of them are ready to go to the next level. So
I think I need a different level book for the rest of them because they're finishing it, especially Sophie and Mohammed. They'll
Sophie and
finish it
Mohammed.
right away.
They both only failed for segmenting as well, and since we've been working on segmenting in class, they've been doing great. Like Mohammed segmented list for us today.
Really?
So, yeah, he thought he got it wrong too. I was like, no, that was right. But
Because they finish it and then I'm like, okay, reread it, and then they end up having to read it like 3 times.
Yeah.
And then they're just messing around.
I think Mohammed and Sophie, we could move both of them into your step 3 group. Does that sound like a good
Sounds good.
plan? That's the whole goal of this too, is to see where kids are and if they're ready to move up to the next
I
level.
think Mohammed and Sophie definitely are.
That sounds great. I'll make those changes with them tomorrow. If you'll just help me remember when it's time to pull and make sure you have enough books for them as well in the
Yeah.
step 3 group. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Great. That'll make your groups a little more even too, which is nice. So I'll type that in here. So moving Sophie and Mohammed to step 3 group. So great success around using the data tracker, and let's make it a goal to get to the comprehension piece by the end of the week, just for everybody. Does that sound achievable?
Sounds good.
Awesome. And you'll have them again in Harper's class tomorrow. So thanks for taking them in. So let's check out your video so we can see how guided reading's
man.
going, since I know I don't actually get to observe you teaching guided reading ever, since I'm teaching at that time.
I'm actually glad you finally get to observe this because
know.
it's not that great.
Well, I'm excited to coach you on it. Guided reading is like my favorite subject, so.
I don't know if you hear it. Hold it. Can you hear anything?
It's one of our ciphers. We're going to go through some of our ciphers before we can start reading. You have to wait somebody to finish.
Harper's class was like pulling my attention a lot, by the way.
Understandable.
They're going to be so easy.
Gala knows them all.
Mm-hmm. Muhammad learned all of them too. He didn't know is for whatever reason. I made him practice it, and a week later he still remembers.
I like that you're holding her accountable. It looks like you set up behavior expectations with him before as well.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I think it's good that you don't spend a lot of time on that and just get straight into skills practice and reading. So
I still try to narrate throughout just because I feel like I have to do it. But
it's a really good time to academic
Mhm.
narrate as well. Like so and so is using the pattern to read the book. So and so is using the first sound in the picture to remind them of the skill. You want to fast forward through sight words and we can see the book
well,
launch?
I want you to see that there's one word where Jocelyn doesn't know it. And he was it. If this was the right thing to do.
What sounds to me?
She's trying so hard.
Turn your sounds off. Work on your part. I'm taking it away.
I'm really mean to third graders.
Good. You didn't sound mean. You sounded calm and fair. So if she doesn't know it for a sight word, you can just give it to her and then have her touch
That's
it
what I
and
did.
say it.
Like,
Yeah.
that's what I want you to see if I did it correctly.
I like that you tried to have her use the first sound first to see if she could figure it out. But like if they don't know it, just give it
See?
to them.
Say said,
Perfect.
touch said,
Yeah.
hold said.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna fast forward it a little bit, but then I took it away from her after like 2 more rounds of letters and mixed it up in the deck and came back and she knew it.
Good. That's
That
perfect.
was our spelling bee. That was a we called it when we want to read your keywords. We can go to the first
This is
letter,
the beginning of your lunch.
say the sound, and very good. Hold on. Sit down. Well, that was our spelling bee. That was our practice. That was in our second grade. That's our second grade. We're gonna have it on Friday. We know that when we want to read your keyword, we can look to the first letter, say the sound, and look at the picture to help us figure it out. Right? So what do we do first? We point to the sound, point to the letter. Point to the letter. Muhammad. We say the sound. Say it with me. We say the sound. Say the sound. We look at the picture. That helps us figure out tricky word. There's something super, super.
What's he doing?
I have no idea.
I don't think I should tell you. I think that I should let you get tricked. Here's what I get tricked. There's this sneaky S at some on some of the words. You have to be careful to look at the end of the word.
That's actually a big reason kids fail step 2.
Really?
As well.
To make sure that you're looking at the whole word. You're looking at the whole word.
I modeled it for them, but Sophie and Muhammad already do it, and they're like, Pops! Thanks.
Let me show you one. You want to check the H3, point at me so that I know you're there.
These are really boring videos.
Point to 3. Point to 3.
I think I should post this video since I did the vocabulary in it.
Read the sentence and tell me if it sounds right. Wait, I'm gonna read it. Ready? Point at the words with me. We know that this is the sun. Now listen. I'm gonna. Muhammad did this. Muhammad got tricked. He said this is the wrong picture. So I know. So the sun popped up. Does that sound right? Does that sound right? The sun pop up. Guys, turn your
They're
sounds
like,
off.
no, it's
Mhm.
pops. Such a stinker, look at them.
right now is when like Harper's class started to get a little loud too, and so Jocelyn kept getting distracted.
Well, here, I think I've seen enough where we can come up with some action steps from there. So
That's it? That's all you
Yeah,
did?
we'll stop there and we'll just focus on the lunch for today.
Yeah.
Does that sound good? Awesome. Do you have a copy of the FOI? The FOI for guided reading.
I think so.
Do you want to pull that out, or I can pull it up on here as well? Fundamentals of Instruction.
You shared it with me before.
Yeah, I've got one right up here too. So looking through the Fundamentals of Instruction, let's just go through and we're gonna pick your action step together. Does that sound good? Awesome. Some great things that were happening. I love the sight word practice. I think it's really important at that level. I'm wondering, are you incorporating segmenting in on alternating days?
Mm-mm.
I wonder if that would be helpful too, just they're getting more at bats. Like instead of doing it full group, just saying like segment top and like have them just go for it. So let's do that as like a quick fix. Do you want to just type that into the, see it? Or name it. Name it. So quick fix, segment. Let's do 3 words a day. You just call on different kids. And then you can check it off on the tracker too. Great. I also think with having 20 minutes for a step 2 group, you have more time to do skills, and at this level, skills are really important, so I appreciate that you put the time in for that. I felt like the skill that you chose, so using the first sound in the picture to read tricky words, was an appropriate choice. Looking at the FOI,
and it always varies though, depending on the text that we're doing.
Yeah, I think blending or first, yeah, it depends on the text too. If they can use the first sound in the picture, or if they need to blend the whole word, because some of it you can't see what's happening from the picture. So
yeah.
Looking at the FOI, I'm just going to give you a couple minutes to go through, and I want you to focus on this launch piece, and I want you to see like things that you did well from here, and then pieces that you think that you can add in for next time.
Oh, this sucks. I usually do their goal cards. I just left them here. I didn't get to go through it. They go around in a circle and read their goals out to me.
You can also give them their goals in the moment. Like if you notice that they're not using the first sound in the picture, say like, you need to use the first sound in the picture when you read. What do you need to do? Use the first sound in the picture when I read, show me, and then have them try it on the next page.
Okay.
So you can do like in the moment for that.
I just gave it to them and told them to memorize it over the weekend and then come back and be able to tell me what their goals were. Introducing the text. I missed that.
And that can just be a really quick one sentence. So you want to make sure that you introduce the text for the book setup. You gave the heads up. There was one other piece that was missing.
I think I introduced the text, but I cropped it because I was trying to airdrop my thing. But my connection was, I noticed that it's been really cold. Show me silent connection if you've been cold lately. Yeah, they've been cold. Well, I chose this book because I really miss the springtime. And the story is called It Is Spring.
Okay,
I just
that's
cut
a good,
it out.
good investment. And then so there's one piece that I'm thinking of. What do you think would be good for us to focus on?
In what?
Within the launch.
They have a thinking job, which is later in the video.
So you want to make sure you give them their thinking job before you have them go read.
Okay.
So I'm thinking we just practice with your book for tomorrow and make sure we give them the thinking job before you send them to read. So do you want to tell me what we're going to focus on?
Yeah, the thinking job and the intro.
Awesome. Do you want to take that into your action step? And I think you said the vocab you just missed that time, or did we just not see that piece?
I did that. I did that in the word was up. I think it was, and so that was the first one I introduced,
So, like,
and I said this is a sight word, and then I went to the sight word cards.
Were there no other words in that book that were tricky words that they might not know?
That was the one that was in our plan.
Okay.
So So maybe that's a push. Go through the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I doing it for?
So under your name it.
Name it.
So include thinking job in the launch. And you can do this by internalizing the plan ahead of time, which I think you had. But then spending that time practicing the launch, just so it feels really sticky.
Okay.
Okay. How do you think this will affect kids?
They're more engaged in the text because they're trying to figure something out. You're giving them something to think about throughout the reading.
And why do you think we do that? Like, what skill is that working on?
Critical thinking.
Mm-hmm. Which is really challenging for kids, and we want to build those skills early. So, do you have your book for tomorrow?
I think so.
Okay, I'm gonna run through the whole launch. Does that sound good?
Okay.
And then it's gonna be your turn. I'll give you some time to think about it after I go.
Okay.
Are you doing Carlos and his teacher? I wrote this plan a really long time ago. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Can you do that?
This is good. I'll just keep one. Awesome. Thanks.
It's just for me. Okay.
Okay. So I've already set behavior expectations and done sight words. So, scholars, today I chose a special book for us about a boy named Carlos and his teacher. Today we're going to read to find out what Carlos does at school. What are we reading to find out?
What Carlos does at school.
Excellent. Mohammed, what are we reading to find out? What Carlos does at school. Scholars, what kind of things do you do at school? Turn and tell your partner, G-O, go. And then bring it back. Scholars, today and every day when we read, we can use the first sound and the picture to read tricky words. Watch me as I use the first sound and the picture to read the tricky word. I'm gonna say it about 8 more times. Carlos and his teacher. I'm pointing to the words because that's something we always know to do. Carlos and his teacher. Carlos and his teacher talk. Did you see how I used the first sound and the picture to read the tricky word? Watch me as I use the first sound and the picture to read the tricky word again. Carlos and his teacher. This doesn't really work for this tricky word. I'm going to check the picture and see if I can figure it out. It looks like he's writing. Carlos and his teacher write. This tricky word is write. Write starts with a W. It's a sneaky W. It's silent, so it still says write. What is this word?
Right.
Everybody?
Right.
Everybody show me right. Say right.
Right.
When you see this page, you'll know that Carlos is writing. Okay, scholars, did you see how I used the first sound in the picture to read the tricky word? Today and every day when you read, you need to use the first sound and the picture to read the tricky word. I don't know if this would be the tricky word since I haven't gone through it, but probably. Scholars, there's an extra tricky word on this page. This word is share. What's the word?
Share.
Share. See how share starts with that sh sound we've been working on? When you see them sharing things back and forth, that word is share, where Carlos and his teacher share. Scholars, let's get started right away reading Carlos and his teacher. Let's use the first sound in the picture to read tricky words. Let's figure out, what does Carlos do at school? Get started right away. Okay. So what did you notice about my lunch?
You introduced the thinking question right away. You modeled the skill multiple times with the tricky words that they would hit.
Why do you think I say it so many times?
Drill it into their heads.
Yeah.
But also just to make sure that they're doing it, which I think is good, because when I do it, even if that's the skill I want them to practice, sometimes they'll just sound it out to get the word instead of actually using the skill.
And that's okay if they're doing that, and that is a better strategy for them if they're successful using that and they are able to sound it out. But we want to make sure they have like a pretty large toolkit for reading. So
what else? Then you modeled it with the tricky words. You introduced it. You gave like a brief summary, gave them the thinking question.
Yep, that's
Did I
it.
miss anything?
So I was just hitting all the different parts of the FOI. So
No, you're good.
that was the hook, and then text preview, skill, vocab, thinking job, and then send off to read. So I'm going to give you a minute, and then we're going to practice this really fast. Are you ready? Do you feel ready to go into it now?
What was it about again? Carlos and his teacher?
Yeah, it's about Carlos and his teacher and what they do at school.
Awesome. What's the thinking question?
What does Carlos do at school, or what do Carlos and his teacher do at school?
The different things.
You could
Carlos
even
and
just
his
ask like what happens in the story to get them to that like retail piece.
Okay. I don't want to do this right now. I feel pressure. There's a lot of time.
Don't feel pressured. You're fine. So you could start like, today I chose a special book about a kid who does things at school. What do you do at school?
Okay. Scholars, you do a lot of special things with Miss Smith and I in our classroom. Today I chose a special book about a kid named Carlos that does a bunch of special things with his teacher. While you're reading, I want you to be thinking about the types of things that Carlos and his teacher do to help us figure out tricky words, right? Am I missing anything? To help us solve tricky words, yeah? We're going to use our skill. We're going to point to the first letter, say the sound, and look at the picture. This is our tricky word. Sorry, questions to Carlos.
No, you're okay. I was going to give you that feedback.
Sorry. Is this our tricky word or this?
The tricky word is the word that changes in the pattern.
Okay.
So Carlos and his teacher repeats on every page.
Okay. So, our book has a pattern. The pattern is Carlos and his teacher. Say it with me.
Carlos and his teacher.
Yeah. And Carlos and his teacher, And I want to figure out the tricky word. So I'm going to point to the first letter.
Say first sound, because
To the
the
first
letter's
sound.
not going to help them.
Okay, so I'm going to point to the first sound. And look at the picture. What are they doing? Talking. I know the word is talk. Carlos and his teacher talk.
Did you see how I used the first sound and the picture to read the tricky word? You say it.
Did you see how I pointed to the first sound and the picture to figure out the tricky word in our pattern? Let's try it again.
Watch me as I point to the first sound and the picture to read the tricky word. And you could even just pick a different word.
Chair. Do the same thing? Time's up.
Awesome. Okay, thanks for doing that snappy
No, you're
practice with
welcome.
me.
I'll probably do it a lot better and less awkward in action, but.